This is your Adventist News, a service of the South Bahamas Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. I'm Tamika Fox. In this week's broadcast, Seventh-day Adventists from around the world attended the 62nd General Conference session. This story and more on this week's Adventist News. Thousands of Seventh-day Adventist members from across the world gathered in St. Louis, Missouri from July 3rd to 12th for the 62nd General Conference session. The theme for the GC session was, Jesus is Coming, I Will Go. The days included morning devotionals by television evangelist Pastor John Bradshaw, mini concerts, evening stories of hope, and business sessions. During the business sessions, church delegates discuss and decide church leadership, constitutional matters, and church policies. The Honorable J. Lachelle Adderley, President of the Bahamian Senate, who traveled to attend the session, expressed the importance of representation from delegates of the global church during GC sessions.
The representation of delegates who attend the conference and who participate should reflect our diversity. There should be a balance so that all persons are represented and there are all sides of the coin at the table giving their representation to the global church, so that when policies and when practices and when procedures are implemented, it's a full representation of the global culture of the church.
At the 62nd General Conference session, there were more than 150 youth and young adult delegates from across the world. Charlie Swain from the South Bahamas Conference was the youngest delegate out of the contingent of the Atlantic Caribbean Union territories.
I am very honored to have been chosen to represent the South Bahamas Conference and the Atlantic Caribbean Union here at GC. And I'm grateful that the conference and the union saw the need to have a youth's perspective on this stage. I think a lot of times as young people, we're only exposed to our conference or our union, and we're not really exposed to what's happening at the world church level. So being able to participate in the Inter-American Division Caucus and being there when everyone voted for the new president, it was truly an honor, and I was so happy to actually have been given the opportunity to participate in such an occasion.
Swain also participated in the Impact St. Louis outreach program, where youth and young adults signed up for various community services. Through activities such as book distribution, park and city trash cleanups, garden restoration, and support for local shelters, young people were able to give back through these services with a spirit of love and charity. Along with Swain were siblings Megan and Dwayne Daly, all from the Grantstown Seventh-day Adventist Church, who volunteered every day to help clean up litter across the city. The Trash Force, as they were dubbed, was not just about cleaning up the city of St. Louis, but it also served as a social networking resource through meeting new friends from Jamaica, Kenya, Trinidad, and Mexico. At the GC session, new leaders were appointed to serve the global church. Ayrton Kohler was elected as the new president of the General Conference of Seventh-day Adventists during the 62nd GC session held in St. Louis, Missouri. Kohler previously served as secretary at GC and campaigned for a refocus of the mission of the global church. Serving alongside Kohler is Paul H. Douglas, who has been elected as treasurer, and Richard E. McEdward as secretary. The church delegates also confirmed Adna de los Santos as the new Inter-American Division president. One of the highlights of the session was the selection of Pastor Leonard Johnson as a General Vice President of the General Conference. Pastor Johnson is the first Bahamian to be appointed to that position and will serve alongside 6 other General Vice Presidents. Johnson has served as Executive Secretary of the Inter-American Division for 7 years. He also served as the first President of the Atlantic Caribbean Union upon its formation and President of the South Bahamas Conference.
This position is really humbling because as I reflect on the position as General Vice President of the General Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, I cannot help but think about my early beginning in the Bahamas. I became a member of the church in 1976, and from that time to now, God has been working with me. It makes me even more dependent upon God because in this capacity, I get the opportunity to represent not just the Bahamas, but the Inter-American Division. I'm a product of the Inter-American Division, and serving here at the General Conference, it is a position where I represent the interest of the Inter-American Division membership and its leadership, and by extension, the concerns of the entire world.
Despite the new position, Johnson shared he will remain steadfast in depending on God.
I'm still being prepared because no one is ever ready for any position. You must always be dependent upon Christ.
Although he is currently serving in the highest body in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, Johnson shared that the most important part of ministry is serving to the best of one's abilities for God.
What is important is that you want to recognize that God has called you into ministry. And because you've been called by God, your first obligation is to God. So even if they were to assign you to a church, a district that you do not like, go.
With the conclusion of the 62nd General Conference session, we pray for our newly appointed leaders and members around the world as the church continues its mission in sharing the gospel. When we return, we'll have more on what's coming up in the South Bahamas Conference.
You might be asking, who are Seventh-day Adventists? Commonly known as Adventists, we are a Christian movement established in 1863. We have 28 fundamental beliefs and more than 20 million members. We also observe the seventh-day Sabbath. Worldwide, we have more than 162,000 congregations. We serve countless communities with our education institutions, with 2 million students. And 198 hospitals around the world. And it's all because we love Jesus.
Welcome back to our Adventist News, and coming up in the South Bahamas Conference. The South Bahamas Conference Youth Department is celebrating youth throughout July and has lots of activities planned for everyone to enjoy. Kickball League will begin on July 26 at the Blue Hills Sporting Complex. For more information, contact your local church youth leader. The wait is soon over. The South Bahamas Conference Pathfinder Band will be relaunching very soon. For more information, contact the Youth Department at 341-4021. Mark your calendars. The New Providence Singles Ministries present Bowling Night on Saturday, July 26 at The Point. Please RSVP by Friday, July 18th if you plan to attend, so that we can reserve enough lanes. Look forward to a night of fun and laughter. The Exuma District of Churches, in collaboration with the Long Island District of Churches, invite you to an early morning week of prayer and prophecy under the theme, What is the Mark of the Beast? From July 21st to July 27th, 2025 at 6 a.m. All are invited to join. A music workshop will be held for children ages 12 to 15 at the Ephesus Church on Parkgate Road. The workshop will be held on July 25, 2025 and will conclude on July 27, 2025. We would like to see children from all the churches in attendance. On July 26, 2025, the Good News Seventh-day Adventist Church will be hosting an on-site blood drive and will donate pints to Doctors Hospital and Princess Margaret Hospital as a Youth Day outreach initiative in our local community. The collection is scheduled to begin at 10 a.m. and conclude at 2 p.m. on the church grounds. The Grantstown Youth Department is preparing for a special community giveaway on July 26. We're inviting you to partner with us by donating items that can be used as a blessing to others. Every contribution makes a difference. Please feel free to visit the South Bahamas Conference website at southbahamasconference.org to receive more information on all our upcoming conference events. There, you can also view a rebroadcast of our Adventist News Update, along with other local programming from our cable channel ATV 658, and read the weekly logos and the Adventist page from the Nassau Guardian.
Dengue fever is a mosquito-borne disease. Mosquitoes usually spread the disease in tropical and subtropical areas such as the Bahamas. Dengue fever is spread when the Aedes mosquito is infected with the virus. When that mosquito bites a person, the virus is then transferred to that individual's blood. It can only be spread by the bite of a female mosquito, and it cannot be spread directly from one person to another. After 4 days from being infected, the symptoms begin and can last up to 10 days. These symptoms can include fatigue, nausea, severe joint pain, sudden high fever, severe headaches, and pain behind the eyes. If you are experiencing like symptoms, make sure to drink lots of water and see your doctor. To lessen your chances of being bitten when indoors, if available, use air conditioning. Mosquitoes hate the cold weather. Also, try applying mosquito repellent, wearing long sleeves and long pants, and use mosquito nets while sleeping. Make sure that all screens are secure and free from holes. Mosquitoes lay eggs in stagnant still waters, so to prevent them from bleeding outdoors, make certain that all containers such as buckets and tubs are not capturing water. Keep in mind that items such as tires and blocked gutters can likewise collect water. By using certain plants like peppermint and garlic in your yard, you can help to repel mosquitoes.
Let's go now to the Adventist News Network with our news feature from around the world.
In Orlando, Florida, a team of doctors and nurses at Advent Health for Children fought to save a baby in need of a transplant. Their relentless efforts were rewarded.
When people talk about miracles, Maddie is truly a miracle.
It was the first couple months we thought everything was fine. It wasn't, we just didn't know. Our daughter was small, our daughter was jaundiced. We didn't know any better, and we were at a different hospital system and nobody noticed it. We show up and it's a new hospital, we don't know anybody. Instantly, we knew this is where we need to be and that they were going to care about our child as much as they would care about their own.
Maddie had biliary atresia, a relatively rare disease. About 70 to 80% of infants with the disease will eventually need a liver transplant.
I was there the day that we told her mom and dad that, we're doing everything we can, but we don't know if she's gonna make it. You have this little baby that's so sick and she just needed a liver, but we had to get her to the point where she could get a liver.
There were several nurses that we could tell emotionally were connected to this child and were willing to fight with us.
If there's something that we can do, we're gonna try, and sometimes that one treatment that we've never done before will save her life.
In the 100 days that Maddie was here, every one of our 80 nurses contributed to her care in some capacity.
All of a sudden, one of our favorite doctors came in and she said, "We have a liver."
Well, that's it for our Adventist news from the South Bahamas Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. To share what is happening at your church, please email your news, stories, and upcoming events to sbcadventistnews@gmail.com. To view a rebroadcast of the Adventist news along with other programming and to keep in touch with what's happening at our conference, visit our website at southbahamasconference.org. The SBC Media Network's Facebook and Instagram pages are filled with lots of materials from the Communications Department, so you would want to check those out. And remember to subscribe, like, follow, and share. You can watch and listen to programs from our radio station, Word SBC 88.3 FM, and our Adventist television channel, ATV 658. Get updates, insights, and first-hand information from the SBC Media Network as it happens. The programming from ATV 658 can also be viewed on the South Bahamas Conference YouTube channel. So feel free to watch a recap of our Adventist news. On behalf of our production team, it was our pleasure to bring you tonight's news update. I'm Tamika Fox for the SBC Media Network. Have a happy Sabbath.